Hey guys, welcome back. It's Robyn, your independent Scentsy consultant. Welcome back, welcome if you're new. It is Wax War Thursday, and today we are doing the Wax War of the apples. So you guys voted pretty well last week. We had a total of 67 votes, and 55 of them were, or no, 77 votes. 55 were for the apples and 12 were for the melons. So we're doing apples today. Melons I would like to do in the future, so I will probably bring that for voting again closer to summertime when more people are wanting melon type scents. Again, if a scent doesn't, if a battle war doesn't win, one that you want in voting, it may come back for voting again in the future, so be aware of that. So there is that. And you guys wanted to see Piper from last video, who was creating a whole bunch of havoc, so she is actually right here in front of me. Come here, you. So here is the little troublemaker herself. Hey, Pipe. There she is. She is a live wire. So there she is. And yeah, so we were gonna do the apple war today. So we had 3 scents battle it out. We have Johnny Appleseed, which Scentsy says is Macintosh apple with peels and crisp pear. We have Appletini Splash, which is brand new to the catalog this spring and summer. Johnny Appleseed is in the catalog as well. Appletini Splash is green apple, noshi pear, and simple syrup. There's that one. And then Appealing Apple. This was the scent of the month for June last year. This one is apple, pear, and sweet pea. And I grabbed a fresh bar because I finished up the bar doing the wax war. So there's that one. So I did warm these over the course of a couple days. If you watched my last video, I did mention that my whole family came down with a stomach flu during that time. So I started the wax war on Saturday or Sunday morning. No, Saturday was a nightmare, so we were all too sick to do it. So Sunday morning I started it. We were all still too sick. So I did keep notes pretty diligently, but it was not as meticulous as usual. So what I did was, after we felt better, it was a pretty short-lived virus, but it was intense, we just did another round. So I had enough wax to do a second go around. I didn't do a second go around of Appletini Splash because I got really good notes on that one because we were all like in the bed because we were so sick anyways. So there was that one. But the other two, Appealing Apple and Johnny Appleseed, were going in my daughter's room and in the office. And those ones did get a second trial, and I swapped rooms for them as well just to get a second set of data. So that's how we did that one this week. So Appletini Splash was in the master bedroom, and Johnny Appleseed and Appealing Apple were in the office and my daughter's room, and they both did one in there. They swapped. So there's what we did. So we will just kind of jump into how things did. So I'll do cold sniffs first. So Appealing Apple on cold is like a pretty, almost like apple shampoo. It's a crisp, fresh apple. There is a pear note. Actually, that's an interesting point, is there's a pear note in all 3 of these. This was an interesting wax war because all 3 of these are apple scents, like predominantly apple scents, but they all have a little bit of pear, even Johnny Appleseed, which is supposed to be just like straight up apple. And they all have such similarities, but enough differences that it was actually a really interesting wax war to do. So we'll get into that. So on cold, Appealing Apple's like nice, fresh apple shampoo. Johnny Appleseed is like a very like classic apple, like 90s, 2000s classic traditional red apple scent. Very just classic. Appletini Splash is green apple with like simple syrup. There's definitely a simple syrup note here, and it really sweetens it up, and I really like it. Some people get like a grassy or a green or a pine tree even note from this. I can see where it comes from because it is a very green scent with that green apple and the peel. So I could see how you might get that. For me, it mostly reads as apple, but there are people who smell pine, and I could see it. But I don't like pine, and I still like this one, so there's that one. At the 2-hour mark, Appletini Splash is a medium plus out the gate. It's a sweet green apple, definitely has a simple syrup note to it, which is just like that like sweetness to it. And it's hard to explain, but it's like definitely like a simple syrup. Like it's not just sweet, it's like a syrupy note. It has very high scent appeal for me. I like it a lot. Performing great. Johnny Appleseed at 2 hours is a very traditional apple scent. Okay. It's less fresh than Appletini Splash, and slightly more like apple perfumey. It's about a medium performance. It has the lowest scent appeal of the three for me, but it is very nice. I'm also finding it at this point the lightest of the three, which surprised me. There were some surprises in this wax war because I thought for sure Johnny Appleseed was going to just take it away, and he didn't. So yeah, at 2 hours, he was about a medium, doing fine, but not as strong as the other two. Appealing Apple at 2 hours is also a medium, stronger than Johnny Appleseed though. So it's also a medium, but it's a little bit stronger on that scale. So I've got, it's very pretty. It's a sweet sort of traditional apple, but it has a lot more sweetness to it. Then at 4 hours. So Appletini Splash at this point is still a medium plus. It's the same scent, no change to the scents. It's strong, tart, juicy, and sweet. So it's doing great. Johnny Appleseed at 4 hours seems light compared to the other two. I noticed when I walked into that room, it was in the office at that point, I could hardly smell it compared to the other two, which were performing really well. This is the one I could smell the least, and it was also my least favorite in scent. It's nice, but just sort of a generic perfumey apple scent. And I don't mean perfumey as in like body care, because Appealing Apple is kind of body care apple. But this was almost like a hit in the back of the throat perfumey. I'm not a huge fan, I don't think. It did not smell authentic on warm. And I noticed in both trials, because it did get 2 trials, both trials it had that kind of generic perfumey apple scent. And it just smelled a little bit flat, if that makes sense. It would be a good mixer. I wrote that down. Appealing Apple at 4 hours was beautiful. Loved. Medium strength, pretty, sweet apple. The term pink lady apple comes to mind. I don't know if you've ever had a pink lady apple. They sell them sometimes during the year here. I think most places probably have them. They're like a type of apple that are like a little bit crisper than most. They're a little bit harder and crisper, and they're like really sweet, and they have almost like a floral undertone to them. This smells like that. So while this doesn't smell like sweet pea or floral, it does smell like a slightly floral pink lady apple. That was my take on that one. So as far as scent appeal, this was my favorite of the 3 for year round. It sort of has a similar tone to True Love Awaits. So I noticed when I walked into my daughter's room at this point, I was like, it kind of smells like True Love Awaits in here, but we have apples in the warmer. But I think there is a body care tone to True Love Awaits, which is one of the Disney bars. And I think that it might be the sweet pea or something like that that's got a similar note in the base. But there's definitely a similarity between this and True Love Awaits. They're not really the same, but they have a similar base. So there's that. All right, so 8 hour check-in. So at 8 hours, Appletini Splash is light medium. It was the strongest of the 3 at that point. It was kind of green apple and simple syrup for extra sweetness. I noticed this one was smellable even if you stayed in the room for a while. So I didn't become nose blind to this one at all. So light medium if you were in there for a while. If you first walked into the room, it was probably closer to like a good medium. But light medium even if you've been in the room for quite some time. So Appletini Splash is doing quite nicely and is good. Johnny Appleseed at 8 hours. It is light to light medium. I was quite surprised by how light this had gotten at 8 hours. It had gotten quite a bit lighter since the last check-in, like noticeably lighter. And it was just really surprising me because this one is like widely accepted as being a very like strong, long-lasting bar. And for me, that just wasn't holding up in this particular trial. So it was kind of vaguely perfumey on warm still compared to the rest, and overall not impressing me, to be honest. 8 hours for Appealing Apple. It is light to light medium. It's mostly just sweet apple now, and it's really quite lovely. So was really enjoying that one at 8 hours. At 12 hours, Appletini Splash was like making a comeback somehow, and I don't know what happened. it was just like making a comeback. It was like back up to a medium at that point. I don't know if my nose just changed and it was stronger again, but I'd put it as a medium at 12 hours. You could smell it in the room even when you've been there a while, no scent change. This is one that didn't really morph over time. It stayed very true to scent for the whole warm. Johnny Appleseed at 12 hours is light, sort of perfumey apple still. Kind of smells old-fashioned to me, I wrote down. Sort of like an early 2000s scent. Not that that's old-fashioned, that makes me feel old. But you know what I mean. It didn't smell of today, if that makes sense. I kind of wondered when this came out because it smells like it would have been some time ago. I Googled, I couldn't really figure out anything before like 2018 or 2019 for this one. It might have been 2019. So I don't think it's terribly old, but I don't know. Appealing Apple at 12 hours, I could not check. Amelia was asleep and she'd been sick. I wasn't going to risk going in there and waking her up. That said, but when I put her to bed, it was on 10.5 hours and it was light medium at that time. So it should have been pretty close to that at 12 as well. So 24 hours. We have Appletini Splash is very light. It is a slight sweet tart, possibly appley scent in the room. When you first come in, it's hardly noticeable at this point. I would normally probably change it around this point. Johnny Appleseed is very light at 24 hours, almost undetectable in the room, but there is like a light, slightly perfumey apple note in the room that kind of like, again, hits you in the back of the throat a little bit. And that happened both trials in both rooms. So it kind of got to 24 hours very light, but it wasn't pleasant at 24 hours. 24 hours for Appealing Apple, very light. I would say this one was done. I wrote down you can't really smell it when you enter the room. You can only kind of smell it near the warmer. I left it in anyways because everyone was too sick to worry about it, so I just left it in that day. What's up, Piper? The second day, however, or the second trial, when I did it in the other room, it was light but still detectable and identifiable in the room at 24 hours. So I wrote down it was very pretty and the strongest of the three at the 24-hour mark the second time I tried it. So this one, I don't know. The first time it got to 24 hours, I would have said it was done. The second time at 24 hours, it was better than the other two. So I don't know what happened there. At 36 hours, we have the first one to bite the dust. Appletini Splash is donezo, completely gone. So that one is the first one out, but it had a pretty good run at 36 hours, let's be honest. So that's pretty good. Johnny Appleseed at 36 hours is like a very light, perfumey apple scent when you first walk in. And again, it's mostly just kind of a perfumey apple. It kind of reminds me of like an apple body lotion or just like a very plain red apple scent. 36 hours with Appletini or Appealing Apple. It didn't get to 36 hours, or I didn't check it at 36 hours the first trial. The second trial, I did check it at 36 hours. It was very light when you first walked in. So it was still kind of hanging on at 36 hours, but it was really light. At 48 hours, we did our last check-ins. Appletini Splash is out of the race at this point anyways. Johnny Appleseed is a very light apple scent lingering. It's hardly noticeable even when you walk in, but if you're looking for it and sniffing for it when you walk in, you can kind of smell it. It's a little bit perfumey and red. So there's that one. Kind of hanging on at 48 hours. I probably would take it out. Appealing Apple at 48 hours is gone. It is done. You cannot smell it anymore. So that one is finished. So this turned out funny, didn't it? Like, the strongest one was Appletini Splash out the gate, pretty closely followed with Appealing Apple. They were kind of neck and neck. Appletini Splash bit the dust first, but it was very long lasting anyways. The lightest one of the three, Johnny Appleseed, was the last one to finally bite the dust. So it was like the lowest intensity, but for the longest. I also found it the least personally pleasant. It wasn't bad by any means at all. Like, it's enjoyable. It's just out of the three apple scents that are so similar, it was my least favorite of the three. These two, both good performers, both lasted a really long time. Like, in the general scheme of Scentsy wax or just wax in general, These are good performers. These are really good performers. Like, I keep my warmers on 24/7. Most people don't. So for most people, 36 hours to 48 hours of warming is like a week's worth. So these are going to last a good long time for most folks. Highly recommend. Appealing Apple you can't currently get. You might be able to ask your consultant if they have any on hand, or if you have it in your club, you'll have it. Appletini Splash you can get. So if you are interested in a kind of sweet, bright apple, and you can't get Appealing Apple, I would definitely recommend Appletini Splash. They're both really beautiful. Appealing Apple is in my club, and Appletini Splash is one I will continue to repurchase. Johnny Appleseed, a good staple scent, a really good scent for people that are just kind of getting into home fragrance and don't know what they want. Also a really good mixer scent. So it is a nice mixer. I think this would pair really well with bakery, like caramel scents, even florals maybe. For me, it's just kind of meh. It's nice. I like it. I have nothing against Johnny Appleseed. It just wasn't, it didn't blow me out of the water. So there was that one. That being said, if you want a bar to just kind of stick in your warmers and let it go for days, this one will last a few days. So that is the check-ins. So now we come to the portion with the awards. So the award for longest lasting, based on nothing else, of course, is Johnny Appleseed. Because at 48 hours, it was still just lingering a tiny bit, and that was in both days, both trials. So this one lasted the longest. The strongest at peak was Appletini Splash at medium plus. Appealing Apple was pretty close behind it, but Appletini Splash was the strongest of the two, or of the three. And yeah, it did really well. It was very powerful. So if you're looking for strong, Appletini Splash. And best scent appeal for me, honestly, is a tie. It is Appealing Apple and Appletini Splash. For all year round purposes, probably Appealing Apple. For spring and summer purposes, Appletini Splash. I really like both. They're very, very nice. Yeah, both high scent appeal. Johnny, his scent appeal is not bad either. He's just not as great as these two. So that's my view. So yeah, that is the Apple Wax Wars. Now's the part where I give you the next contenders to vote on. So I'm going to give you 2 sets of wax that you can vote on. So vote for one, and you have between the time this video goes up on Thursday morning to Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to get your vote in and let me know what you want to have me warm for the next wax war. I picked 2 sets of bars this week where no matter what you pick, all of these bars are currently available. So every single bar that I'm holding is available right now. So regardless of which one you pick, you can get all of these bars right now. So the first set is the pineapples. We have Pineapple Pucker, which is just like a nice juicy pineapple. We have Pina Colada Cha-Cha, which is like a pina colada. It's like coconut pineapple deliciousness. And we have Havana Cabana, which is like pineapple and banana and maybe some coconut. Also really nice. So these are the kind of like pineapple-y scents in the catalog right now. So if you want those, put down the pineapples. The next voting set is the peaches. This was an idea from Elizabeth Scenes and Scents' daughter, Addie. So Addie wanted to see the peaches. So we'll present these as a voting option today. And again, honestly, regardless, whichever one of these doesn't win is probably going to be presented again at some point because I really want to do both of these at some point. So pick the one you want most right now. Peaches. So here we have Plumeria Peach. It's like a florally kind of summery floral peach. We have Peach Nectar. A really beautiful light sort of creamy peach. And then we have Apricot Vanilla, which isn't technically peach but smells like peach. And this is like a creamy, sort of like perfumey, peachy apricot. So your choices are pineapples or peaches. Let me know below which one you want to see next week. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.